Hey gang, it's Mark Barsotti, ex-rock critic, occasional writer of rock and roll books, and we're back with part two of my interview with living color guitarist, songwriter Vernon Reid, which originally took place on April 12th, 1993. So without further ado, we'll get right to Vernon.
Let's talk about a song that, to me, as a listener, obviously everybody brings their own interpretation of things, but that's also kind of related. That's Auslander, kind of, the signaling about, the surge of tribalism around the world in the 90s. That's how I see it, but anyway, I'll let you comment on
it. Well, I think it's about empathy. It's about like looking at the situation of gypsies in Africa. In Europe, what's going on in Eastern Europe, what's going on in Germany, and, empathy, because, that the song talks about something that's like universal, what it is, what it is to come to leave an oppressive situation, or to leave a situation that's economically oppressive or politically oppressive, and go to the so-called promised land.
And be oppressed again.
And be oppressed again.
Don't you think that there's, even in this country, there's a vein of that seems to be happening in the 90s?
Absolutely. Look at what goes on, all the time from, say, migrant workers and, citrus pickers, people that come from Mexico, East LA situation, that's like, but what's going on every day in sweatshops, all over the country, in the urban areas. There's a kind of economic oppression that's going on.
That almost seems to be at war with the whole, also sense that, that we're all, it's a global village, we all have to work together, we're all going to die together. And there seems to be like a struggle between those two things going on in the 90s.
Well, there's the one ideal, which is sort of like, the hilltop singers ideal, we're all hands in the world. Reality, there are all these conflicts of interest. It goes from water rights to uranium rights to gold to like who gets to work in the docks, who gets to like have a view of the city from their apartment building. It's like it goes through all these different changes, and the lines are not so clear. Sometimes, an economic situation has more weight, than say a racial or ethnic or religious situation. But they more often than not, they're all tied together. You look at what the German reunification. Everybody thought that they bring them along and everybody loved one another. East Germans and West Germans. White European Germans have no problems with one another.
Yeah, or look what happened to Yugoslavia. It's great that suddenly the wall, the Iron Curtain's down, but then people are free to go kill each other.
Now you look at the communist regime, in all the terror that they, oppression.
Yeah, they at least kept a check on all these.
There's nothing on the scale of what's going on in modern Serbia. There's nothing, there's nothing to it. The kind of
Yeah, well, you had something, blocking ethnic hatreds that are hundreds of years old. You suddenly release that. And, hey, we're free to kill each other again. I know we're pressed for time, so I'm going to move on to a couple other things. There's been a lot of either negative or mediocre reviews of Stain that I've seen. Has that surprised you, given that up to now the rock press has been almost universally supportive?
Well, part of it is, people come to it with, people come to it from a lot of, I feel a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of baggage. They come with a lot of baggage about the genre that we play. It's like, oh, yeah, well, the only way you can play music like this is to be an idiot, or, how come you're not more entertaining or you're humorless, quote-unquote humorless, which is like, a sort of like euphemism for, really, I don't want to hear about the world from you. I want, you to entertain. I'm not interested in your pain. Your pain doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm. some sense, this might be a result of almost like a backlash at this point against you guys, because, I mean, Vivid had such an impact.
I mean, we've always had mixed reviews. There were hateful reviews. You know, I mean, in my own hometown, you know, hateful reviews of Time's Up. You know, I mean, that's so to say that I don't know what the boundaries are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like someone that writes in Entertainment Weekly is someone that never liked the band. You know, slagged us. The person that slagged us, say here in the Daily News, flag Time's Up. At the same time, people that have been supportive have tended to be supportive. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen everything. Is the balance like more negative than in the past? I don't really know. I've seen a lot of good reviews as well.
Well, in a sense, I mean, so much of the media, you know, particularly mass media, tends to, you know, have such a short attention span that I think, you know, back in '88 there was the novelty of, wow, this is a great rock record. Plus, it's, you know, by a socially aware hard rock group who happens to be black, and at this point, some people maybe expect you to be either standard bearers or to be breaking, you know, totally new ground artistically every time out. Do you get it?
Well, you know, I mean, this is the thing. Oh, guitars, how boring. How come they're not doing? You know what I mean? It's like sort of like, you know, unless you're like doing some kind of retro '70s thing, or unless you're
grunge.
You know, quote unquote grunge, which is, you know, I mean, I don't know what that means. Part of that is like, I can identify, it's like the Spectator rock. It's like, you know, well, a lot of us will come at it from, who do these Negroes think they are? Well, we know what they're trying to do, and they're not doing it. Because I'm a white person, I know what white people think about this rock. It's like, that's not all consciously stated, but a lot of it is what it comes to. That's what it comes down to. I'm in my camp. I understand my camp more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to do this, but you're not doing it because I own this camp. It's like who determines what's right? You know, that's the thing with criticism. Who determines what's right and what's wrong? A lot of my favorite bands never got great reviews from white rockers. Mandrill, an amazing band from the 70s, never got, you know, they got like tossed off like, oh yeah, well, you know, they're like BS&T, but you know, they don't make it. Now, that was an amazing band.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bands, you know, that kind of, you know, I mean, built-in kind of bias. I mean, they'll, you know, at the same time, there are other bands that are basically doing, you know, things that are really generic, right? Like, you know, a body count, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, is
Almost a parody of.
the music is really generic metal music
Mm-hmm.
with a rapper on top. And critics will form over themselves talk about how progressive or how great it was. It's really like it, you know, people bring what they want to bring to it. If you really, you know, so many times people don't really listen to you. You're not really listening.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to say that, you know, our record's the greatest thing since sliced bread. People have a right to criticize or say whatever. And mixed reviews don't bother me so much because at least I think that people are really listening. They say, oh, this song is cool. This song doesn't work for me. I can accept that. I'm grown. Right?
Well, plus with body count, besides the fact that with the rapper, it was also, you know, overlaid with the whole sort of, you know, cartoon gangsta attitude that.
Yeah, but that's like, it's like, well, what is that? I mean, it makes it safe for white people to say we're again. Is that why everybody kind of digs it? Because that's really, it ain't doing nothing. It ain't saying nothing. That's really dealing with, you know, what's really happening. I mean, if it allows for people to kind of go back and take their, you know, their stances. I mean, it doesn't tell them anything different than what their daddy told them. You know, those niggas across town. It ain't, you know, body count and all. It ain't telling young white folk. I mean, to me, you know.
Sure, but I mean, I think to a lot of, you know, white rock and roll writers, it has that sort of the hip cachet to it that this is, you know, this is the real thing of what's going on in the hood, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you know, basically, and that's, you know, we never be cartoon characters. Unfortunately, for some people, that's like whenever I say, well, how did you heal from this, or you're so earnest. I mean, what are we earnest for? Basically, we're trying to figure out why, why are we in these circumstances? Why is it that, it's different for me to be an American than it is for you?
Yeah. Well, having seen you guys 3 times, I think that you're a great live rock band. And because of the baggage a lot of people bring, whether they like the genre or not, they tend to, they can't see you on that level and accept you as.
It's sort of like, yeah, this is a great band. This is all. And, it's like, I think that it's frustrating, because at the same time, I would say the people that really get it, the people that have gotten it, I've appreciated it. I'm not someone that's going to turn around and say, well, I'm above the artist, because everything is great. I mean, there were moments when the band wasn't really preaching or like that, and I can say, okay, I can see certain things, but it's a kind of outright hatefulness we've got from a lot of the British press. To me, it's not really far the kind of hatred of the genre and, a certain antipathy towards what the band is really about. Which is about, on some level, dealing with our situation unflinchingly, not myopically, but unflinchingly.
What would you say is the one criticism that you've heard of you guys that you think is either the most unjustified or that?
Well, I think it's criticisms that assume that to make broad assumptions about where we're coming from. Really,
Like what?
Because they don't fucking know me well.
Like what kind of broad assumptions?
There was a thing, there was a thing, they talk about living color means to be disruptive. They mean to do this, they mean to do that, but they don't do it. It's like, you don't fucking know. It's like assumptions about where man is coming from. We're disrupted are basically being in the skin that we're in. Whether we would want to be or not. If we want, the only way, basically we just deal with who we are from what we are.
One other song I want to touch on was "Bye."
Go ahead.
Well, I think it was interesting in the sense that the lyrical attitude in the song to me seems more appropriate for say 73 than it does 93, in the sense that in the age of AIDS, I have no, at least out here in Denver or whatever, I have no sense that there's really an attitude that everybody wants you when you're by. I mean, just the opposite, in the sense that. Okay, well that's what I wanted to.
That's part of the irony of the face value by the nature of this person's sexual orientation. If they're desirable enough, everybody would survive. But in reality,
It's almost a pariah aspect of that type of sexuality anymore.
And I think that there's something very just to come into sexual discussion. I think that the thing about bi is that it really cleans. Like the lyric, I didn't want to overlay it with safe sex, any of that. The aspect of the wild card gambler. Is really, it's not about AIDS or AIDS, it's really about the fact that, this desire was rampant. And if you have someone that's beautiful or sexually attractive or magnetic enough, they're going to wreak havoc wherever they go. And if they're bisexual, they're going to really wreak havoc wherever they go. And it's about the wreaking of that havoc, the kind of, mouth-watering havoc.
Okay, that's going to be the end for today. Part 2 with Vernon and Reid. Hope you guys enjoy that. Part 3 will be up in the not too distant future. Like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow as we're recording this. See you next time.